Hello, dear followers. Welcome back. My name is Merel. I'm a kinesiologist on the move, which means I'm a kinesiologist and I'm moving. I live in my camper van and I treat as I go on my way, long distance and people I meet. And today I got a lovely question of one of my followers. He's called Han Buwalda, and he said, Merel, playing, what does that mean to you? Being playful. Very nice. So I was driving through Denmark, so I had some time to think it over. And maybe it's a nice question for you as well. So if you don't want to hear my story yet and you're willing to stop the video for a moment and just think for yourself, what does playing mean to you, and playfulness and being playful, and if you're a grown-up, are you still playful? So it was a good question. Yes, I love to play. I don't like to play games much. I am not in drama and intrigues, because I like to be pure and open and honest. And I don't like playing much cards, but I do have a lovely game that I play with my boyfriend. It's called Trick-Tracks or backgammon, and we play it almost every day on the phone. And he has his board and I have mine. And we have numbers and we throw our dices, and it's very lovely. That game helps us to be in the receiving mode, to be neutral, to be giving, because I don't mind if he wins, but I do love to win myself. And it's not about the winning, but about the playing and being in connection. And actually, this game teaches us how to be in alignment all the time, so we can play the game of life. And I get the feeling that I'm close to understanding more and more and more how life works. So because you go through things you don't like, you create your opinion, and you do know what you do like. So you create wishes and desires and intentions even. And then if you're not blocked or sabotaging, all the good stuff can come to you. So I'm using kinesiology to take my blocks away. I always test and I see if I'm 100% neutral for a certain intention. And then it can come to me. So I try to be neutral and in the receiving mode. And as I've noticed during my travels, that so many good things can come to me without me even consciously looking for them. So they come anyway. And I'm grateful. So I say thank you, and I'd like more of that. A beautiful example this morning, as I was sitting in my camper van in the opening in the door, and I was drinking a cup of coffee, and I was in the sunlight. I was thinking of a long time ago when my youngest, now 16, was 3. And when I used to pick him up from kindergarten, he would sit on the rear of my bicycle, and he'd put his little hands under my coat, so warm small hands on my bare body, and he would say, Mama, and I would say, Niels, and he'd say, Mama, you know, and I'd say, Niels, no I don't, tell me, and he'd say, Mama, listen, have you been sitting in the garden, in the sun, with a cappuccino and reading a nice book? And then I'd say, oh, how good of you. No, I've forgotten. I've been running all day and cleaning up, and I had so much to do, and I did the laundry, and I prepared dinner, and I got the groceries. Mama. Yes, Niels. Mom, the sun is still shining. You can still do it. So I was sitting there in the opening of my camper van in the sun with a coffee and no book. I have 4 books in my car. 2 are about ancient times and wars. I don't like it. The other one is Start with the Why of Michael Sinek. It's fantastical, but I cannot read it completely from front to end. So I open it once in a while and I read a page. And it's always the right page for me. So it's lovely to do it like that. And the other one is called Le Grand Monde, and it's a French book, and a dear friend of mine advised it to me. So I'm trying to read it in French, and it's real hard. So I'm not really getting into the book, and so 4 books and no reading. And then I was quiet, and I asked my higher self, soul, whatever you call it, if I were to read a book, what would it be about? And I saw a blue cover and it said mermaid. I thought, awesome, a book about mermaids. I have to tell you a little different story. I have this dear friend, we train together, and she's called Natalia Mora. She's from Colombia, and ever since she met me, she said, there she is, La Sirena, which means the mermaid. And so this book came along. Then I thought I have to Google, because I have to find out if there's a book on mermaids that I can read. Then my boyfriend called, and he was doing some shopping in Holland. And in the midst of the city of Dordrecht, so I thought, maybe he can help me. I said, is there a bookshop? He said, yes. I said, I want a book on mermaids. He said, but how can I find it? And are you sure they have it? And this is really strange. And how are we going to do this? And he went in and he tried to figure out how the names were. And in the meantime, I was Googling, and I found a book with a blue cover with all bubbles on it, and it said mermaid, almost like what I saw. Amongst, by the way, 300 other covers, and I knew they weren't the ones, but I had to find this one. And it's actually the story of the Little Mermaid, told in a different way by a different writer, Louise O'Neill. And it's about a mermaid who has a difficult life with her tyrannical father. Does it ring a bell in my life? Yeah. And then she wants to go to the... She may go through the surface and look up. And she sees this boy and she falls in love. And she has to do many sacrifices to live on the earth. And then it suddenly all came to me. And for the people who don't believe in reincarnation, you may tune out now. But for me, this is my 99 life on earth. And I just figured out that the first 4 were like as a mermaid. I was under the water. And the first 3, I didn't know there was an upper life. And but the 4th I discovered, and I chose to live on the land. And I left my talents behind. I left my skills and my let's say superpowers. So by finding the name of the book, by finding the cover, by reading what it is about, I had these lovely insights. And I could contact the mermaids that were very close by, because I was standing close to the sea, and play with them. And I did a download, so I got my talents back. And it feels very complete. I didn't know, but apparently I had been missing them, so it's wonderful to have them back. And as all this happened and all the emotions went through me, I heard Diederik going from A to I think the O or the N of the name of the author, and a beautiful girl just went by. Probably a mermaid as well. Yeah, she is. And he said, Louise O'Neill, a blue cover with bubbles. It says mermaid. He says, how can this be? how can this book be here? How there's one copy? How can this cannot be? And I thought, that's a lot of limitations. Why didn't you trust this? I was so convinced you would find my book and bring it to me Monday. So he bought it for me. So Monday I'll have my book, and I'll have the sun, and I'll have my cappuccino, and I'll have my boyfriend. So it will be a lovely holiday for me. It's been mostly about getting whole and learning and working and cleaning up and getting up my frequency and getting into alignment the last weeks. And now I'll have a week of rest. Of course, I'll be working the Thursday and the Friday, but it will be rest for me and enjoying and playing. So yes, I love to play, and some would call me young in my behavior or childish, or I, for example, have this, I think you call it city, you don't call it city bike, city scooter, you call it. In Dutch it's the step. I saw 1111, beautiful. And you push with your foot, and then you go forward with two little wheels. And when I'm on that, I feel so free and so happy. And I would like to say, woo, woo, all the time. I feel so happy. People look at me like, cuckoo. And I love to run, sprint, and I love to run in the way that you pull your knees up, hinkelen in Dutch. So all these movements, I love to dance. So all these movements are the movements that children make. And I love to be innocent, and I love to be in the flow, and I love to be connected to my intuition and to my fantasy. So maybe you can call that playfulness as well. And I feel that when I'm in that mood, in that energy, I get the nicest connections. I see the loveliest people. I see beautiful flowers and trees and butterflies and things in nature, fox. And so for me, that's a very good vibe to be in. So thank you, Han, for this question. So I could explain what playing means for me. And when you're in this playful energy, good things can come to you. So that's what I wanted to tell you. And I think mermaids play a lot as well, but they're not as playful as elves, for example. They're more goal-driven. They have a clear focus. So I liked it. I don't like the playing for playing. I like the playing in my reaching my goals. So I hope this was of inspiration to you, and I love to hear the comments how you play and what makes you want to play. Is it with your children? Is it with animals in nature? Is it? Tell me. I'd like to know. So love from me to you from the IKEA. Always the IKEA. I love the IKEA. I had to stop. So yeah, see you soon. Love from me to you.